Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Athletes Are Human First podcast. I have a very special guest with me here today. I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Kelsie Imai. I went to the University of Hawaii and played there for 5 years. Born and raised on the Big Island, but yeah, thank you for having me.
Talk a little bit about getting to play at home, right? Because as a kid, that's got to be something that you dream of. That's got to be special.
Yeah, 100%. It was, like you said, a dream of mine, super special to me. As an athlete, your goal is to play at like the highest division you can get to. And for me, I always wanted to play Division 1 basketball. And then being able to do it at home, like that just put the cherry on top. So super grateful and at the end of the day, just very blessed for the opportunities that I was given.
How was the recruitment for you? Was it always you knew you wanted to go to UH, or were there other schools you were deciding between, or how did the recruitment process go for you?
Um, for me, recruiting process wasn't as, fast as I wanted it to be. Like I wasn't having all of these offers being thrown out at me. Um, I knew that I always wanted to go to UH because, like I said, like that's a Division 1 school and it's at home. So as soon as Coach B offered me, literally, I think the next day I like called her and I was like, hey, like I'm gonna commit. So yeah, I just kind of set on going UH. So that was super cool and super special for me.
Yeah, I mean that's special, right? I think a lot of kids when they're getting recruited, they are trying to figure out what's the best fit for them. And then they ultimately have to try to make that decision. Whereas for you, you knew from the beginning, like, okay, one more day and I'm committing. Like you probably could have committed on the spot, right on the phone, right there, but you took the day. But then you just kind of embrace that whole situation, right? I mean, talk about like the support from your family when once you made that decision.
Super special for me. They knew it was a goal of mine to play Division 1, and then just being able to do it at home, it made it easier for them to come to all the games. My parents, they flew out to every single home game, and then just knowing that they were in the stands was just, the extra support for me, and just knowing that at the end of the night, like I get to go and I get to have dinner with my family, I get to see my parents, hang out with them for a little bit, and then um, just knowing that people at home can watch. Like it's easy for them to access on TV. You just turn on Spectrum, whatever channel it was, and um, yeah, the main thing was just being able to play in front of my family and just make them proud in whatever way that I could. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of athletes they don't really think about that part of it, right? If living in the West Coast and then they go play in the East Coast, the time difference makes it hard to be able to to watch certain things, the access to watching those games, but also getting to go eat dinner with them after a game. Like I think they don't realize how much that's going to mean to them until they leave for college and then they're missing that experience.
Yeah, I knew from like one of the like first few travel trips that I took with basketball, like I'd be away from home for maybe a week and I'd be like, no, like I need to go home. Like I need to eat my rice. I need to eat my local food. Like I knew that if I went to the mainland, I'm sure I probably would have learned to figure it out or whatever, but I knew that I wouldn't be happy and it would be such a hard transition for me. So yeah, that's just yeah.
Yeah, I mean
Like
that's part of the culture too, right? In Hawaii, for those that don't know, like family means everything, right? I mean, it's even more so in the Hawaiian culture, like family is everything.
And like the support here is just it's unmatched. I don't know if you know, but Coach Beeman guys also they allowed me to go home and play in Hilo against UH Hilo, which is our exhibition game that we do every season. So for my senior year, they took me home, took me to Hilo, and like I just like I'm so grateful that I'm able to be from Hilo and have this community that supported me throughout my whole college season. I had old teammates, family members, friends just coming out to the game and them just expressing how excited they were for me to come home and just how grateful they were to be able to watch me play and watch me grow not only from what like middle school to high school but to follow my journey throughout college, and that's just something super special for me.
Yeah, I think that says a lot about the program, Coach B, your relationship with her, to even think about those type of things, right? Like, hey, let's go for an exhibition game so that our guard can go play in front of her home
Mhm.
family, friends, where she grew up. Like as a player, that's something you're never going to forget, right? I mean, that's special. That's a special time, and the fact that Coach thought about that and made that happen. I mean, talk about your relationship with Coach B and what she's meant to you.
I love her. She always says like she never wants like just a transactional relationship, and she's done so much for me, not only for basketball. Like she's been my mom away from home. Like if I'm having a bad day or if something goes wrong, she's one of the first people that I call. I let her know. Like, hey, Coach B, this is what's going on. I'm not having it today. She calls you, pulls you into the office, you know, talks to you not only as a player, but like as a human, which is very important. And I think a lot of programs lack that. She always put our mental health first and just such a supportive coach. And I'm so grateful that I was able to be able to build that relationship with her and still have a positive relationship with her.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, right? I think a lot of colleges don't have that, right? A lot of coaches don't really care about their players as a human,
Yeah.
right? If you're not scoring for me, if you're not helping me get wins, then I don't I need to find the next person, right? And like you're talking about, it's very transactional. And at the end of the day, college basketball, it is a business, right? At the end of the day, so there are a lot of transactional things, but you can still care about your players as humans, as individuals as well, because the more emphasis you put on that, probably the better they're going to play for you as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like the great thing about Coach B is like when she recruits staff, it's it's like across the board. Like we're not just these basketball players. Like it's not just like yes, it's business, but at the end of the day, it's like we're gonna have a good relationship with you. Like I like Coach Flo. I know you know Coach Flo. I when I tell you our relationship, we we yell at each other, we argue with each other, but at the end of the day, like if something were to go wrong, like I know that he'd be one of the first people that I would also call. Coach K, same thing. Coach Alex, and then even our support staff, we had Di, Noah, Jason, and our athletic trainer. If our athletic trainer, Kristen Ho, she was more like beyond an athletic trainer. Like she was our therapist. Like she'd be giving us hair tie snacks, like all of it. She didn't only take care of us physically, but mentally, emotionally, all of it.
Yeah, Coach Flo, obviously great person. He was at Sac State for a while and then went over to UH. But to your point, like if you ever need something, he's one call away and you know he's going to be there for you, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
I try to talk to him at least once a week. Sometimes he ignores me, but then he'd be like, "No, I didn't get." I'm like, "All right, you lying to me," but he checks in every once in a while, and I'll go into his office and we'll talk for like hours, and just gives me all of this like grandfather advice that I need, and tells me all the things I don't want to hear, but
but
always makes
it'd all be true stuff that you think, dang, I should have listened to Coach earlier because he knew what he was talking about.
yeah. And I'm very honest and open with him, and he's like, "Girl, you're crazy. Like, what is you doing?" But you know, so I'm so grateful for him. I love that man.
Talk about kind of the mental health aspect of, I mean, playing college sports, right? I mean, there's always ups and downs. Talk about how difficult that is as a D1 athlete.
It's it's like you have this expectation, like you're not gonna be sad, like you're supposed to be able to handle it, and things are gonna happen, and just like what are you gonna do with it? The good thing about our program is we had mental health like support. We had this thing called Rainbow Wellness, and we had like our therapist come in and talk to us and give us like exercises to work through stress and whatnot. So that helped us a lot. But I mean, you're gonna feel down at some point. Like it's inevitable. Something's gonna bother you. You know what I mean? Like this is if you're in college, this is the first time that you're away from your family for a lot of people. Like you miss a lot of things. It's not easy, but um, it does take like a certain type of strength and resilience to be a Division 1 athlete. And it's like people don't talk about that. Like when you're playing basketball, you're playing it's a winter sport, but it's going throughout the whole school year. So you're missing birthdays, holidays, important family things, and it's gonna get to you. You're gonna be sad. And it's just I don't even like I don't even know if there's a way to even avoid it. Like I think the best thing is just to be prepared. Kind of you got to accept it. You can't be in denial, and then go talk to somebody about it. Get a therapist. Like it's okay. It's okay to be sad, and a lot of people don't understand that. But for me, there was, of course, like I went through my mental health struggles, and I hated basketball. I wanted to move home. I didn't want to do it anymore, and then just kind of having the support of my family and them telling me to stick it out, and then also going and getting that therapist, being open and honest with my coaches about what's going on and having those hard conversations. That's what helped me get through whatever I was going through.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, we say it's okay to not be okay, right? Especially for athletes. We're human. Athletes they're all they have the same emotions that any regular person has. You're kind of supposed to think that you can play through it. You can just brush it off. Oh, you'll be fine. Just go to practice for 2 hours and then worry about it after. Well, sometimes you can't do that, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you talked about having that support system, having the Rainbow Wellness. I mean, I think every school should have that type of like sports psychologist at available at any time, right? Because I think every athlete needs it, right? And it's not a matter of if they're going to need it, it's just a matter of when they're going to need it. Because at some point in time, there's going to be doubt. There's going to be times where, do I even want to play basketball anymore? Maybe I should just quit and just go back home. Maybe I should just go to school and not worry about basketball. And without that support system, it's hard. It's hard to get through that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so talk, I mean, you have a tattoo as well. And do you want to talk a little bit about that?
My resilience tattoo. Yes. So that was, I got that just going through a rough time. Probably not the best version of myself at all. I wasn't, I can tell you, I wasn't doing all the right things that I needed to do as an athlete to better myself or whatever.
Mhm.
But I remember I was talking to my sister and I was telling her like all of my problems, telling her how hard of a time I was having, telling her I wanted to move home, I wanted to quit basketball. And she was like, dude, like you need to be resilient. And then that just kind of like stuck with me. So then one day went to a tattoo shop at pure impulse decision, and I was like, I'm gonna get this tatted on me because that's something that I want to remember, and that's something that I want to keep with me, not only through basketball but throughout life.
Mhm. Yeah, and then talk about the impact your sister has had on you as a person, but also as a basketball player, but also as a person.
Yeah, so I have two sisters and I have one brother. So age gap between me and my oldest sister is 12 years and then 10 years, and me and my brother are 4 years apart. But my oldest sister, Kirsty, she probably did the most for me when it came to basketball. And she also was like my mom. Like she was like my second mom. Because when my mom was at work, my dad was at work, she would pick me up from school,
Mhm.
take me with her to practices. So I sat at college practices with both of my sisters really. But when it came time for me to go and play college basketball, my recruiting process started. She's the one that came over, sat down with me, was like, hey, okay, like what schools are you interested in? Did my research on what schools I was interested in, wrote up my emails for me, sent out my highlights, and like she handled all of that for me because she already knew what it was like to
Mhm.
go through all of that. And I think at the time she was also an assistant, like a volunteer assistant coach at UH Hilo. So she
Okay.
kind of understood the system. Um, but yeah, like I said, with her being like my second mom, she was always honest with me and kept it real and would just be that support when I needed it. And then for my other sister, she was the one that was nationally ranked coming out of high school. And then, yeah, so I would say like my oldest sister is the one that helped me the most, but then my second oldest sister is the one that inspired me because I got to watch her get all of these accolades throughout high school, go to Division 1, and see how big of a deal that was for her, and just like all of the talk that was going around on the island when she did sign. It
Mhm.
was like, you know, that was cool, and that was something that I wanted to experience. And then I can't leave out my brother, of course. If we're gonna talk about my, I can't leave out my brother. 4 years apart, we argued a lot, always. We were at the end of the day, it was just us two in the house because our sisters were older. So we would fight. Parents probably hated it, whatever. But when it comes to our basketball relationship, we would go outside and I would play against him. So he was my biggest enemy, my biggest competitor because he didn't want to lose to me and I didn't want to lose to him. Ended in like fist fights sometimes or me like throwing things at him. But he pushed me and for sure helped me become the player that I am. And then yeah, our relationship is very weird, but I know that my brother is probably like when it comes to being a supporter and like someone who's proud of me the most, like it's my brother, like no doubt about it, because he like we never like say anything nice to each other, but then during my senior night, he was the one that was crying the most. Like, he was hysterical, like bawling his eyes out, and then he did this whole like sad post on Instagram, and he was like, "The baby of the bunch, finished her college career," and then he included like, I would never say this, but I was jealous of you, and I like we argued because I wanted to be you, and like thank you for living out my basketball dreams because he got to live through me. So that was
That's
cool.
awesome.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Obviously having the support from older siblings, but also with your brother, and probably made you part of who you are as a basketball player, right? The competitiveness, the physicality. Like I'm sure you wanted to beat him every
Oh,
time, right? So you were going to try to be as physical as you can, try to, push him around so that you can get the ball. And then obviously gaining the opportunity to play Division I basketball. I mean, talk a little bit about the playing experience at UH. You are a top five in career assists, over 300 assists, huge accolade. Number two in games played at UH, another huge accomplishment. Talk a little bit about just your playing experience.
um, super, super fun, super grateful. Like like we talked about earlier, it's like you're always gonna go through your highs and lows. Sometimes I wasn't playing as much as I would want to, and then sometimes I played a lot, but it's just kind of fitting in where you belong and finding your role as a player. And like I mentioned this to you before, but I think the best thing that I did going into college was going in with no expectations and just being hungry to get on the court and just being grateful for whatever opportunity that I got. And then with that, I learned to fit where I was needed and found my role, which was being a point guard, being a playmaker, and helping my teammates out in that way. Um, Trying my best on defense, I always wanted to guard the best player that was on the other team. And then I think another thing for me was I had a lot of grit, and every time I stepped on that floor, like you were gonna get my best. Like I'm going at a player as hard as I can, and my teammates, they knew that if anything were to go wrong, like I was gonna be the first person there to support them. And sometimes it got me into trouble, but at the end of the day, like, my energy fueled my teammates. And that's where I feel like I impacted the team the most.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten to watch you play a couple of times, and obviously the grit, the just energy, the motivation for your team is every team needs it, right? Obviously, having a point guard that can be the leader of the group, can be the vocal leader, can rally the troops, but also set your teammates up. I think that goes unappreciated a lot now, especially in the AAU culture. Everyone wants to score, right? It's all about how much did I score? How much did you score? No one ever asks, well, how many assists did you get? Did you
Mm-hmm.
help your team win? Did you defend the best player?
Mm-hmm.
Those questions never come up. And so we try to tell our kids all the time, it's like if you do things that don't show up in the stat sheet, college coaches will see that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Your friends, maybe some of your parents, they won't see that. They'll say, "Oh, you didn't play well, you didn't score." But a college coach will see all those things, right? They're
Yeah.
going to see if you are getting on the floor, diving for loose balls. They're going to see if you're communicating with your teammates. They're going to see if you're setting your teammates up for easy baskets. Talk a little bit about those things, doing some of the little things, but how important that was for you to get playing time.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny that you bring that up like throughout the AAU because when I was coaching for Team Aloha this past April, that was like the biggest thing that I preached to them. Going into the tournament, I told them I was like, I don't care how much you score. I said, if you are not giving your full out on defense, I said that's already like a college coach. If you're not playing defense, you're crossed because at the end of the day, like you can't just play offense. You have to be able to play defense. And I told them, I said, for me, when I was playing AAU, when I played with Team Aloha, I knew that I wasn't going to be the scorer on their team. I knew that I had to find different ways to impact and find different ways to stand out. And that was me. Coach Mufi had me guarding like the best point guard on the team full court the entire game. Like he did not care. He was like, Kelsie, as soon as you go in, like you are gonna full court pressure this person, and you that is how you are gonna be seen. And that's how I got my looks. It wasn't because of my offense. It was because of my effort, my energy, and then my willingness to go and guard the best player and just doing all of the little things, diving on the floor, giving the talk, and being a good teammate is another thing. It's like, because who wants to recruit somebody that's not uplifting their teammates, it has this attitude. And I like that was one of the big things I told the girls was I don't want to see you with an attitude on the court. Like you need to be a good teammate. When somebody does something, cheer for them. If they're down, like you help them up. You have to be the first person to pick them up. And then that's how my playing style was in high school, and I carried that on into college. And I think that's how I was able to get the playing time that I got and make the impacts that I did at UH.
Yeah, I mean, talk about the condition that you were in to play that though, right? I mean, picking up 94 feet against all the top guards, most kids will shy away from that,
Yeah.
right? There's not too many kids that want to do that the whole game. Talk a little bit about like where did that mindset come from? Because that's not easy to do.
I I don't know. Like that's just how I was wired in a sense. Like I
Yeah.
want to win so bad. Like I'm willing to do anything and everything. And then for my conditioning, it was like my parents had me playing three sports at one time. So
Okay.
I was like, I was always kind of doing something. I never really had a weekend off. And then I'm at the time I hated it because I was like, why can't I go to the beach with my friends? But now I understand it. Like now I'm grateful. But I mean, it's just conditioning. Like you
That's
got to
just
be in shape to do it. Like I just never really realized. And then my motor was always so hot, and like I just was able to in high school, and then in college, you already know, like Division 1, they're gonna put you through
they're gonna
conditioning,
make you be there.
training, all of that. So
Yeah, I think I wish more kids that played AAU would put an emphasis on being able to defend 94 feet, being in condition, being in shape to be able to do that. Because you see people do it for 2, 3 minutes and then they're done. Like, yep, I need a sub. And so, trying to tell kids like you have to be in shape to play college basketball. Like, you're gonna have to defend. The court's bigger. You're gonna have to be able to. You're gonna have more responsibility. There's more movement, both offense and defense. Like, it's not just your AAU high school basketball. It's different at the next level.
yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that like a lot of coaches don't emphasize defense, but like I know that when I was playing in high school and like AAU, we would do like some defensive drills. It wasn't like offense was more important than anything. Like they just think like it's supposed to come to you naturally. So that was like a big shift. Like I went to college and it was like you have like a whole hour dedicated to defense. Like this is what we're gonna do. Like you need to do all of these drills, and then we're gonna go do something else. And I did coming fresh out of college and then going into coaching for Team Aloha. I was giving them my college drills. Like I told them, I said, if you guys want to play college basketball, like I'm gonna show you what it is like. Like you need to be able to do these kind of things. They hated me. They they hated me. But Coach Mufi loved the drill, so he was like, "All right, we're doing it
Give me
again."
another one. Give me another one.
He literally was. He was like, "All right, we're gonna do Coach Kelsey's drill again," and everybody was like, they hated me. They didn't hate me, but they're
But I think that's the sad part about it though, right? And they're not used to doing that, right?
yeah,
So that was like, wait, where is this coming from? Well, you should have been doing that for the last 5, 6 years.
yeah,
Like this shouldn't be the first time you're doing it.
yeah. And then like
Well,
another thing is like I don't know who I was talking to this about, but when I was in high school and I played for Team Aloha, like that was such like a big deal for a girl in Hawaii. Like you want to play with Team Aloha, like that's the job. Because Coach Mufi he takes care of you. All he does is ask for a couple hundred, and then he covers everything: your food, your flight, transportation, all of it. So
mhm.
when I played and we would practice, we were like going at each other constantly, and like we had good solid practices. We never ever like if Coach Movie asked for something or if any of the coaches asked for anything, like we never like had a second thought about it, never gave any attitude. And,
Hmm.
everything was full effort. Coach Movie never had to ask for us to talk or do more. And then I went in to coach this past season and I just kind of like expected the same thing. But I think it's like with this day and age,
It's
like
different.
a lot of them like kind of expect it to be handed out to them. Like when we were playing, it was we wanted to play. So we were going at each other every practice. Like I had to talk to the girls multiple times and tell them why are we laughing? Like why are we walking? Like trying to give them these expectations and prepare them for what it's like
Hmm.
to be like a college athlete. I'm like at the end of the day, you guys are all here because you want to play in college. It's like you can't only do these things in games. Like you need to be doing this at practice too. Because if I were a college coach and I seen you acting the way that you are, right, you are not getting any playing time. It doesn't matter how good you are. Like if you are not doing what you're supposed to do in practice, it doesn't matter. Like you can't just walk around and think everything is handed out to you. Yeah.
What's
So
the
I
biggest? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, you're I instilled that into the girls like pretty early on when I first started working with them. So
Yeah, and obviously I know one of the girls too, right? Who, she's going to be playing college basketball for sure. But I think she'll look back and say, "Yeah, I needed this, right? I mean, I needed those talks, those real talks, right? Because I think a lot of days now coaches come with a lot of fluff, right?
yeah.
Just to keep you on the team, keep you happy. And for you, it's like, I'm going to tell you how it is. I'm going to tell you the reality of it. I'm going to tell you what it's really like to play college basketball. And I think a lot of those kids need those conversations if they truly want to play at that next level.
Yeah. I don't I like I I feel like in our generation that sounds really crazy to say. Like I feel old for saying that, but everybody wanted to be better than somebody else. So we were always trying to go at each other. And at the
Mhm.
end of the day, that's what helps you be a better person, be a better player, and all of that. So
What do you think is the biggest transition from going from high school to college? I mean, you saw some of these kids playing AAU.
mhm.
Obviously, you played college. What do you think what's the biggest transition? What's the hardest transition?
I would say the physicality for me, and then me coming from Hawaii, I was able to play 1 through 5. And like I'm like all of maybe 5'6", 5'7", but like I'm a good size in Hawaii. And then I go and I play college and I'm one of the smallest girls in the court. But that was yeah, just the size of physicality. And then another thing is I didn't play with shot clock in high school.
Oh,
So
okay.
I had to
Adjust to that.
yeah, adjust to that, learn the shot clock. And yeah, it's and I anything else? Maybe just being on like a set schedule.
Hmm.
It's like you're expected to be at weights early in the morning. And if weights start at 6:30, you better be in there at 6:15 with your shoes on. Like you need 15 minutes is on time.
Hmm.
And then, you got to go from weights and you go to class, then you go to practice. And it just like it takes up your day. So that's it's not easy to do. I think back at now and I'm like, how was I doing that? Because I was up at 5 a.m. and then I wasn't getting home till maybe like 6. So
Long days.
long days. Um, yeah, that was pretty much the hardest transition. And then I think another thing that nobody talks about is having to do everything on your own. Like for me, I was used to having my mom, like, I come home, dinner's ready, like I don't have to worry about doing laundry. And then now you need to find time to make yourself food, do your lunch, like you have to do all the other little things that you don't realize you were getting help with growing up.
And then talk about the transition to life after basketball, right? So I don't think anyone talks about, or very few people talk about, okay, you're done being a D1 athlete. Your time is, you've used your 5 year or 4 years and five. And then now it's the real world. Real world is here for you. Talk about the transition from being an athlete going into your next phase of your life.
When I tell you, it was probably, I mean, I still haven't figured it out. Like I still don't know what I'm gonna do. But like the first 3 months, 2 months, it was just like why? Like I had no idea what I was gonna do. I when I graduated, I feel like I didn't even enjoy my graduation because I'm so stressed out about what am I gonna do? And then everybody has this expectation, like, you just went to college for 5 years, like you have this degree, like what are you gonna do with it? And I'm like, I I don't know because all I've ever known and all I've ever focused on throughout college just sounds horrible, but like my main focus in college was basketball. Like
Basketball. Yeah.
I went to school to play basketball. I
Hmm.
didn't play basketball to go to school at the end of the day. Like, yeah, and then just like you go from having this set schedule that you used to, and you have every your day completely planned out, like you're gonna work out, school, practice, and then that's just it. And like you just have all this free time and you don't know what to do with it. You have all this free will. So I wasn't doing the right things. I'm like, I'm done with college. I don't have basketball. I'm gonna party. So I partied for a little bit, and that affected me probably in the worst way possible. Got out of shape very quick, and then everybody is now putting this pressure on me, like, you gonna work? Are you gonna go back to school? Are you gonna try to play basketball? And everything was like, I don't know.
Hmm.
And during season, like I'm not thinking about what am I gonna do in 2 months when I graduate. I'm just focused on basketball. So now I'm still kind of like in this boat of what are you gonna do? But I'm like, I need to work because I can't just not do anything. Um, I did decide that I wanted to continue playing basketball, so I picked up an agent. But then nobody talks about how hard it is once you get an agent. Like, you think like, oh, you get an agent, you're for sure gonna go somewhere. But then all they do is just try to find contracts for you. So now you're just waiting and you're sitting, and you might not get anything at the end of the day. But sorry, you still have this like hope in the back of your brain. So for me, it's I gave myself like a timeline to figure things out. So my last like stretch for playing basketball overseas is to go play in March in Australia. And then if I don't get that, then it's like I'm gonna have to figure out what I want to do for the rest of my life and find my career path and all of that. But for now, I'm just kind of riding it out day by day and
Yeah.
doing my best to survive, keep myself busy, still trying to work out. And yeah, very hard transition. Very, very rough and scary for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of athletes don't think about that, right? Because all you know is playing basketball, right? Your schedule is pretty much set for you. Any extra time you have, you're either working out or maybe spending time with some friends, family, that very little time that you have
Mhm.
outside of your, workouts, trainings, film sessions, studies. And I think like for our school at Maritime, I think our school does a great job of getting our student athletes to job fairs, right?
Mhm.
And so the job fairs having, I mean, student athletes need to start thinking about that, right? Going to job fairs, trying to line something up for when they graduate, because once you graduate, it's not like before where people are going to come find you and say, "Hey, you want a full-time job?" You have to go out and go look for something and you have to go find something. So I think being kind of proactive early on and going to the job fairs, going career fairs, doing internships, trying to create different connections for life after basketball. I mean, those are things that you have to start thinking about,
Mhm.
especially in your last year, right? And so no one ever talks about that though, right? They're like, "Oh, you had a great 5 years, and
Yeah.
you're a great basketball player, and see you later. Good luck."
I mean, we would go and like we would have job fairs and we would have like things set up for us to go to. And it's like you build these connections, but then it's like for me, I should have took it more serious. But at the time I was like, I was like, I don't know what I want to do yet. So like so
Yeah.
I have your card, yes. Like what am I gonna do with it? I don't know. But I did build some connections and I'm just not utilizing them in the right ways.
Mhm.
I guess I can say for now. But
They do
yeah.
have a women's league in the Bay Area in the summer that if you are interested in playing, you should definitely come out next year.
Nice.
But they do win the women's PBA. They do a great job of getting their players overseas contracts. So, I mean, if that's something you're interested in, definitely will can connect you. I know you said March for Australia, but um, it's definitely a great opportunity. I mean, obviously it's away from home, but they do a really good job of supporting the athletes and finding them opportunities to play overseas. So definitely can connect you on that as well.
Cool.
Let's go. Last thing, what is some advice you would give your younger self? I mean, you've gone through the whole high school, college, graduating. Like, what's some advice you would give to some younger kids?
Just to never take anything for granted and just always be grateful, um, and just like be present in the moment and appreciate what's going on, because I feel like at times when things were going right, I was like, I can't wait till I'm done. Like I was just there, like going to practice. I was like, I'm tired. I don't want to practice anymore. And then I didn't like allow myself to enjoy and appreciate and realize how lucky I was to have the opportunity to play basketball. And like that was my job. Like I watched a lot of my classmates go straight into the workforce.
Hmm.
But for me, is like I was basically getting paid to go to school and play basketball. Um, yeah, and then just to like better prepare myself for life after college. I don't think I went about that the right way in any sense. Um, yeah, I think the biggest thing was just to be present and appreciate your time with your teammates, your coaches, because at the end of the day, like you're never gonna experience that again. And that was such a fun time in my life. Now that I look back at it, like I was hanging out with the same group of girls every day, and like we had this special relationship, like truly a family setting. And not everybody gets to experience that unless you play sports. But yeah,
I love it. Sorry, I forgot one thing. Talk about the March Madness experience because that's something that a lot of athletes don't get to experience. So tell us a little bit about that before we end this.
I'm like, you get to like they fly you out on a private jet, like they're feeding you on the plane. You walk into the locker room at whatever school you're playing at, and there's just like a bunch of things laid out for you. Like I think they had like lotion, soaps, Gatorade snacks, like all from these different brands that were working with March Madness. And then I think the biggest thing was like getting your gear, like your March Madness gear, and just like your team is doing this whole video for you and like this whole reveal, and it's just like such a special moment and lifetime memories, because I'm doing that with some of my best friends and people that I'm gonna know and be friends with for the rest of my life. And yeah, it's just super cool. And then you go into the arena and you're playing like because we're such a low seed, we're playing like one of the best teams, and then you get to experience their fan base and you know playing super cool arenas. And I've never been to Texas. I went to Baylor, never been to LSU. Like why would I ever go to Bayou? Like I would never in my life
Yeah.
go, but I get to go and experience what's their culture like and see what they have out there because of basketball.
Who are the best teams that you've ever played against in college?
I would say LSU, just because just because that year they did win the national championship. But um yeah, I'm like playing against people that are gonna go play in the WNBA, like at the end of the day. So
Who was on that team?
that team, we had we had played against Angel Reese, Alexis Morris, Flau'jae Johnson.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. But then the
That,
year before that, we played against Baylor, and then there was like we played against like Nalissa Smith and like that team that they had, so which was also supposed to be like another national championship bringing team.
yeah.
But I can say that we went out there and we gave them a good game. At least for Baylor, like we were up and up with them till the first half, and then for LSU, yes, we lost, but apparently we had held them to the lowest scoring that they've had throughout the tournament. So that's
That's
just
what to hang your hat on.
yeah. And then me, I'm like I got to guard one of the best guards in college basketball at the time. So, and I know that I was giving her a hard time and I was getting under her skin to a certain extent. So for
Is he the
me,
best player that you've ever had to guard?
I don't know. Yeah, yeah, I would say so. She was
And
good. She was a tough guard. And then I'm like playing against Angel Reese, and everybody's like, she's this big figure, and everybody knows how she is. And of course, me, out of all people, I'm gonna go up like I'm gonna sass back if I get sassed. But just kind of going the mentality like that I wasn't gonna shy away from any competition and just yeah.
yeah, what an amazing opportunity though, right? And you talk about being present and just enjoying that whole experience. Not a lot of people can say they've played in March Madness, and so to have the opportunity to do it twice is really special, right? I mean, so it's something that you'll always remember. But again, I just want to say thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's always it's always good to talk about these real issues that athletes have to overcome, and I appreciate you being open about it, and it's definitely going to help out someone that listens to the podcast. So I want to say thank you a lot,
Yeah,
and
thank you for
yeah,
having me.
best of luck. Hopefully, you get to go play overseas, go keep playing basketball, but. If not, things will start to work itself out as you go. But yeah, I just want to say congratulations on an amazing career, and I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.